Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Venture Fuel Visionaries podcast. I'm your host, Fred Schonenberg. I'm the founder of Venture Fuel, and I'm joined today by Monika Malik. She is a lead data and AI software engineer at AT&T, where she works to design and deliver production-grade data pipelines and AI-ready systems at massive scale. With a career spanning telecom and global banking, including years as a data engineer at Barclays before joining AT&T, Monika brings a pragmatic perspective on what it takes to move from big data foundations to AI capabilities that are reliable, governed, and actually adopted by the business. Today, we're going to dig into what production-ready AI really looks like inside a large enterprise, the biggest challenges teams face when scaling AI beyond pilots, and the engineering decisions that make the difference between impressive demos and actual durable systems. We are both judges for this year's Consumer Electronics Show, and I knew we needed to have her on the show, so I am so excited to welcome Monika today. Monika, it's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Fred, for having me in the show.
So you're building AI systems at such a massive scale inside AT&T. I'm curious, what does production-ready AI actually mean, and how is it maybe different than what most people might think?
So prediction ready AI meant like a lot of people they have this misconception of model accuracy, whereas if we think about like when we are building AI driven solution, it has to we have to focus on a lot of things. Like we have to have a system redesign process where we have the controls in place, we have governance in place, and we have those evaluations on that AI agentic workflow. And the most important part is every we have a right logging system in place. Like it's not because so currently I'll give you a background. So I'm working on the finance transformation project here at AT&T, and we are trying to build AI agentic solutions to replace MJ manual general entries, which is currently a heavily manual process by analysts to write those generals in the books. So if we are trying to automate, like we have to think about are we do we is the governance in place? If something is failing, do we have human in the loop? And also in that whole workflow we cannot have everything as probabilistic or rely on agents. We have to have the deterministic component in there. For example, for this MJE, if there are some calculation, we have to have a tool like a Python based script, so like agent cannot make those decisions on behalf of a human. So I believe like the most important these are the few most important things we have to have it in the production ready AI workflow. Like we have to have a proper logging system, we have to have a proper evals, and the governance and immutable logs should be there.
Now, I think one thing that this brings up to me is like, so many enterprises are stuck in what I'll call proof of concept mode. They get very excited, or someone in the organization gets excited about agentic AI, but then they're just doing pilots, they're doing tests because they don't have these systems you're talking about
Right.
that prevent the pilot from becoming a durable or business critical system. How do organizations avoid that trap?
So in the POC mode, lot of time when we cannot treat any solution as an experiment. We have to focus on redesigning the process itself. So a lot of time you will see when we are doing a POC, we are using the curated data set instead of it doesn't reflect the massive production data. So we have to think about like if it is going to use data at scale, what are the challenges we are going to face. And a lot of time like we have to make a behavioral change in here. We have to have those controlled framework and the systems or the platform built instead of treating it a AI solution just as an experiment. So we have to have an ownership, like if there are no business user or if there is no governance fear, we have to take consideration of risk, legal, compliance, block scaling system. We need all those things, then only we can think about a solution at enterprise level, and we are not going to get stuck in the POC mode.
How do you maybe take that idea with, a C-suite leader says we need more AI? What needs to be in place already to make that ambition realistic?
So we need to have a process clarity. So in my current work, let's say if we are trying to automate the manual general or this finance work. So if we have, let's say, 100 of finance analysts which who are working across the different teams, we cannot build a common agents for them. So basically every requirement will have a unique solution, and we have to focus in there, like it has to have a process clarity. Then along with that, we need the reliable and governed data. We have to have a clear lineage, and we have to define the probabilistic deterministic component within the workflows. Then like we have to have that platform where we can say, okay, we if we need the agentic solutions, these are the must thing that already exist in the we already should have all those things in place. Like we need to have an event driven architecture or secure cloud infra. Most of the companies, they would already have that, but these are must have for AI, if we need AI today.
Absolutely. One of the things that I thought was really interesting about your background is, banking and telecom are both very highly regulated
Yeah.
industries. And AI and agentic, all of that is, very cutting edge. And so can you talk a little bit about that friction of wanting to, automate and find new solutions, but also needing things to be governed, auditable, and trusted?
Yes. So, like I mentioned, that in each agentic flow, we have to have a human in the loop or over the loop. We cannot like just say we are going to replace humans. So, for any regulated system, we need at basically at critical control points, we need humans. So, let's say an agent is preparing the report. We have instructed, we have put all the instructions in there, but he has prepared the final report. But there should be a human who can review the system, and then only it should be uploaded in the book, rather than agent is doing everything on its own. So we have to have those controls by design. We need to have the role based accesses. Not every agent can have access to everything or every data present in the company. So we need those restrictions in over there. Then we should have a proper change management system. If we are proposing, like if let's say in our current solution we got some new upgrade in the model, we are making those changes, but we have to have this in a controlled version control or ownership, where we can go back and trace those changes, like who made that change and what was the outcome of that change. And yeah, we have to have those traceability in there, and then only and those evals in the place, then only we can design an AI solution in for regulated industries.
It's so interesting. I wonder if you could talk maybe about the trade-offs, because obviously you want stability, uh, you need control, you need security, but those often come at with tension with
Yeah.
things like speed and flexibility and scale. How do strong teams like yours overcome and stay ahead of that sort of friction?
So these traits of are constant. Like sometime, let's say if I say speed versus stability, so if we are doing a POC, or if we have to do it in an experiment in a sandbox, then it can be we can focus more on speed versus stability. But if we want to build a slow controlled system, then we have to focus on stability. Similar for cost and performance. If you are doing a small model for classification, that you maybe you don't have to use big LLM or the latest LLM models. But if you need a proper reasoning model for exceptions, or if you're building some complex system, there you can use latest and latest LLM models, which could be expensive.
Hmm, very interesting. So let me ask you this. One of the things people have been talking about is, there's the promise and the hype of AI versus what is being delivered today. And so, at what point does an AI initiative start delivering business impact? Like, when do you start to see those signals that you can say, hey, we're seeing adoption in this, that you can share back with leadership?
Yeah, so we have to have a metric in place where, if let's say I'm proposing a solution which is automating current manual work, then we have to check if the person who is reviewing that workflow is not spending more time than as compared to when the person was doing that work manually. So in case of this MJ example, if we have those close cycle shortens, let's say an analyst today spends 15 days for a book closure, then when we have this agentic solution in place, he is spending maybe 2 to 3 days for the validation part. So we have to have those metrics in place where it is really helping the user or the person for which we have built that solution, and user is not frustrating or the model is not hallucinating, and what are the accuracy. Because if every time human is reviewing and it is saying that the validation is not proper and he's doing that work manually, then we cannot say that we have delivered a good AI project. So by looking at those metrics, we can measure the impact of AI deliver projects.
And those metrics almost need to be customized for each program, right?
Yes,
Because what's the problem you're
absolutely.
trying to solve, and then creating that KPI or metric specifically to show that this initiative has the potential to solve it in a big way.
Right. Yes, correct.
Very interesting. What do you think the biggest misconception is for senior leaders about scaling AI? And is there a way to reset those expectations?
Yeah, so we have to stop thinking it as an experiment, and every 5 months, if we are getting new LLM model launch, we are going after the LLM accuracy or the model accuracy, rather than we have to focus on, if we are scaling AI, do we have the data architecture in place? Are we focusing in the process redesign? Because currently all the applications we have, if we want to add that AI component, and if we want to automate those using AI, then we have to think about the process redesigning, change management, governance engineering. I'll give you an example. So currently here at AT&T, instead of doing like as a software engineer, we started with vibe coding, right? And you will just prompt to any LLM you are using for your work, and it will give you the code. So instead of that, here at AT&T, what we are trying to do is we are building archetypes. So if I want to do a documentation for my project, so instead of put that particular requirement in the prompt, we are going to use that archetype. So that archetype will have the guardrails in place, so that it is not it is giving the solution as expected, and we have those securities as well in place. So we have
Hmm.
to focus in that manner as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? This is one of the tensions throughout organizations. One of the beauties of, let's say, vibe coding is
Mm-hmm.
that anyone can pick it up very quickly
Yes,
and go. And so you want to take advantage of a huge company like yours with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. You want to unleash them, but at
yes.
the same time, you have to do it in a way that does not introduce too much risk.
Yes, that's why we are calling it AIFC, AI fueled coding instead of vibe coding, where we are designing these archetypes, and we are going to use those archetypes instead of a simple prompt.
Love it. And what was it? AI feud code.
AIFC, AI fueled coding.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very interesting because I think that's one of the tensions is you want everybody to take advantage of these tools, but you also need to
Right.
protect. Uh, if an enterprise wants to responsibly scale AI over the
Mm-hmm.
next, let's call it 1 to 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think are the first couple of investments or areas that they should prioritize?
So we have to have this AI governance framework where we have this model registry, versioning, audit system in there. Then, from the data perspective, we have to have this unified data lineage platform. So here at AT&T, what we are doing is we are creating MCP servers for the data products, and for the tool part, like I mentioned about this probabilistic, like where we have those Python script for the deterministic part of the workflow there, that we will deploy it as an MCP server. So we have, and then if I talk about in a generic way, then we have to have some reusable agents. We have we if we it is good to have those archetypes. It's good to have a prompt libraries as well. So
Hmm.
if I am building a linear regression model and I'm using a certain prompt, then if I'm keeping that, if I have a library, I can share it with the other developer as well, and they can just tweak based on their requirements. So, and we also, it is very important to have the evaluation framework. I've seen a lot of people when they are building the workflows, these agentic workflows, we are just focusing on the model accuracy, and we don't have any evals. So I'll just give you an example. So let's say in my workflow, i have uh, I have two agents. What one is data compilation agent and one is the calculation agent. So data compilation agent is responsible for all the data calculations or the transformation, preparing, basically reading the input data from the various data sources, and then it is applying some transformation in it, preparing the data. And then we have the calculation agent. So when this workflow executes, at the end of the workflow execution, we need evals. Currently we are using a third party Arise, which using that we have written those evals to make sure in the execution we can see the tool sequence, the agent sequence, that first data compilation agent is executing, and then we have the calculation agent, then we have the validation agent. Because in this scenario, the sequence is also important. Like, you cannot run your validation agent before your data completion agent. So, and also, like, let's say if we are preparing one final report, we have those columns in the report. So all those validations are really important, and that will give us confidence that the workflow is executing as expected, what we have written and what we are asking it to do.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And I was going to ask this question in a different way,
Mhm.
but you just mentioned the third party. Uh, I'm curious what your stance is in AI around. Uh, we talk a lot on the show about buy, build, or partner, right? Should you
Yes.
build it internally? Should you acquire somebody, buy them, or partner with an external partner? How do you think about that in the world of AI, which I think is kind of shaking up how
Mhm.
most companies have traditionally approached the buy build
Mhm.
partner?
So I will say platform every enterprise they have to build. So internally in house, they can buy like we have lot of these good companies, OpenAI, Cloud. So we can buy those already LLM models. We don't have to create from like write our own LLM from scratch. Maybe SLM we can do it, but there's no point in spending more time over there. And then for the partnership we can we can use the in infrastructure like cloud. We can use Azure, AWS, or GCP. So there we can partner with third party, or for Arise, like for this Evals, we can use companies like Arise.
Very interesting. So, looking 3 to 5 years out, what do you think is going to separate large enterprises that are really operationalizing AI from those that maybe get stuck in experimentation?
So yeah, if companies are treating AI solution as experiment, they are not going to win. So enterprises that will win will treat AI as an infrastructure rather than experimentation, redesigning their current process, not just automate them, and then build internal AI capability. Like we cannot just rely on outsource intelligence, and we really have to invest in AI literacy across the business unit.
Very interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna get you out of here on this. We're gonna do something we call rapid fire, which is I'm just gonna give you a couple different topics and give me a quick, 1 sentence or so answer, so that way
Mhm.
we can cover a whole bunch of different areas. Are you ready?
Yes, I think so.
All right. So, des- give me a description of the current state of enterprise AI.
um Transitional.
Mm,
Still like a learning phase. It's a
yeah.
bit transitional.
What do you think is the most overrated AI capability right now?
Replacing human. Like we cannot have fully autonomous agents with we need human in the loop or over loop.
On the opposite side, what do you think is the most underrated?
Data lineage. But as a data engineer, like I would say like that's the heart of every application.
Yeah. What is one metric every enterprise AI leader should be tracking?
So business value per production AI system. Like if we are building something, what is the business value coming out of it?
I love that. What do you think is the biggest hidden risk in scaling AI?
Sh- it might be creating a lot of governance debt, is what I feel.
Hmm, very interesting. Uh, where do you think AI will create the most value? Do you think it'll be on cost reduction or on generating new revenue, new opportunities?
I feel the short term goal is cost reduction, but if we look at the bigger picture, then it is like creating new operating revenue models.
Monica, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and your time today. It was incredibly interesting. And do you want anyone, is there anywhere you'd like to direct the audience if they want to either get to know you better or learn more about what you're building?
Yes, they can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, and yeah, we can have a talk. And I'm also in the learning phase, and but it's a great journey, and I'm very fortunate for my company that I'm working in such a interesting project where I'm learning a lot about AI and building these agentic solutions.
Well, thank you. I think that's the right attitude, right? All of us need to be in the learning phase and approaching this as such an opportunity to learn. So thank you, Monica. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Fred, for having me. Have a nice day.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.